Hi, everybody. This is Karma, back again with episode 41 of My Life Stories. Please take a moment to hit that like button so we can get started, and subscribe and hit the bell icon to receive notifications to not miss any new episodes. Today's story is called A Pit of Snakes. I fell into a pit of snakes and did not realize it at first. It all started a few years ago. I had worked incredibly hard and had gotten myself into an executive position. Part of my job description involved auditing the stores I overlooked and making sure that all personnel adhered to all policies and procedures set up by the corporate office. I had implemented strict quality control measures, and it seemed like most of the audits I did centered around quality control issues. One day, I got a call from a manager at one of a cluster of 4 stores in his area. I'll call him Jay. He wanted to inform me that he was having issues with one of the full-time workers. I took his comments with a grain of salt and advised him that I would be visiting his area soon. But then, shortly after, I received calls from the other 3 managers, A, B, and S, all complaining about this one particular employee, LL, for lovely lady. They all said she was lazy, that she never completed her duties, that she refused to follow the rules, and that she was undependable. All these statements were peppered with gossip, innuendo, and their own personal judgments that made me uncomfortable at the level of venom they displayed with their words. I hung up the phone and immediately cleared my schedule to go to XX City to visit these stores to determine for myself what was going on. Fortunately, LL was working at the first store that I visited. I got to meet LL. She was a lovely older lady, not at all what I expected her to be. I introduced myself and informed her that I was there to audit the store. I found it odd that her face lost all color. I began with the cash drawer and had her count it to make sure the $200 cash drawer was intact. I had left early that morning at 4:00 a.m. and had driven 5 hours to get to their location by opening at 9 a.m. I may have been a little cool towards her because I was tired. I asked for a specific inventory report, and as I looked at her, she lowered her head and covered her face with her hands and started sobbing hysterically. "What's wrong?" I asked, alarmed at her reaction. "I can't do it," she cried. "What can't you do?" I asked. "I can't pull the report," she said, "because I'm stupid." I was shocked by her words. This echoed what one of the managers had said about her. "You're not stupid, LL," I answered. "Are you trying to say you don't know how to process this report?" "Yes," she replied, crying harder. "If that was even possible." "Nobody will train me," she sobbed. "They won't even answer my questions. I can't lose this job. My husband is sick and he can't work." I tried to comfort her, but that was the moment that I knew I had fallen into a pit of snakes. This employee had been bullied and had been dealing with a hostile work environment by the managers that were trying to force her to quit or get fired, and I needed to figure out why. "I'm here to train you," I assured her. "We have all day, and you can ask me to go as slow as you need." She was still very distressed about losing her job, so I informed her that was off the table, and I was not there to fire her. "I'm here to make sure that you know how to do everything properly," I said. "As long as you do, I will always have your back." I gave her my card with all my contact information and informed her that she could always call me with any questions. We spent the rest of the afternoon going through all the procedures. I gave her enough time to write as many notes as she felt necessary, and made sure she had all the tools she needed to be able to do her job without question. Her facial features relaxed, and we went at her pace. Sometimes we repeated a procedure until I was positive that she understood what she was doing. I always like to take employees to lunch, where I let them pick where we will go for lunch. I find that this usually helps the employee to relax and feel comfortable, so we can chat about work in general. And that is exactly what happened with LL. She confessed that she had been struggling with completing her work in a timely manner. A big part of this was that the managers were giving her the hardest task to complete, basically their work along with hers, but wouldn't give her any instructions or enough time to get this work done. I don't even know how she had made it to that point under those conditions. She was completely lost, with no allies, and those snakes were doing their best to get her fired. As we continued to chat, I learned quite a bit about what was going on in those stores. As far as LL was concerned, we were just chatting over lunch, and she never realized I was putting two and two together. It turned out that Manager Jay was harassing all the females at his store, both customers and employees. Some females he harassed for dates, and some for favors, like extra hours of work. Manager A was stealing money from the till, and managers B and S, who were good friends, were selling off the books and pocketing the cash. At first, they had all tried to draw LL into their schemes, but she was too honorable and had refused. In retaliation, they had agreed to gang up on her to get her fired. LL was no fool. She knew this was the case, but had never said anything to anyone. She had just suffered in silence, desperately trying to keep her job. She had just figured that since all the managers were saying the same things, no one would ever believe her anyway. Since I had spent most of the day with LL at the first store, I was only able to do quick audits at all the other stores. However, since I knew what to focus on, I was able to verify most of what LL and I had chatted about. I returned to the corporate office and reported on my visit. Unfortunately, I was informed by the higher-ups that nothing would be done for the time being. I later learned that the reason for this was because those stores were going to be sold. I immediately contacted LL and asked that she please hold on for a while longer, and advised her that things were going to change, but it would take some time. I asked her to please trust me. The four managers were blindsided when 2 weeks later they were informed that their stores were sold and they were no longer employed by our company. LL's employment was terminated by the new owners, who chose to listen to the four managers. I drove up to the store when I knew the property would change hands and LL would be let go. I asked her to follow me in her car. We stopped at a really nice property our company owned. It was a small store, big enough to accommodate one manager and a part-time person to work on the manager's days off. LL got out of her car with a confused look on her face. "You," I explained, "are going to run this property for us. You're the new manager for this store." LL could not believe her luck. After so much discord and so many problems, she now would have the opportunity to manage her own store with no issues, and she would be the one in charge. LL turned out to be a loyal, reliable employee and a stickler for following the rules. I never had any issues from her at all, and she worked for us for 12 years until she was able to retire to care for her sick husband. I still make it a habit to verify any gossip I hear about any store with the truth, and I still practice good listening skills with employees when I take them out to lunch. I try to find the good in people, and sometimes I have to really look. I like to think I'm older and wiser now, but nowadays I'm always careful not to let gossip affect my opinion of any employee, so that I will never fall into another pit of snakes again. This was a very powerful story that unfortunately I know has played out many different times with different characters. Ephesians 4:29, the New International Version says, "Do not let any unwholesome talk come out of your mouths, but only what is helpful for building others up according to their needs, that it may benefit those who listen." This reminds me of what my grandma would say, which was, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. Thank you to the person that sent me the story. As she did not want to be identified, I did not use her initials or any identifying information from her story. Let me know in the comments section if you have ever been in a pit of snakes, like LL in the story, or have had to deal with a hostile work environment during a really stressful time in your life when you had to keep your job. Show your support to the poster of the story by leaving 3 heart emojis in the comments section. Your comments, likes, and subscribing to this channel really helps me to grow, and I want to thank each and every one of you for all your support. If you would like your story read on my channel, please submit your story to karma@karmagetin.com or post to you/Karmagetin on Reddit. All stories will be read anonymously with either initials, descriptions, or pseudonyms only. If you like this video, hit that like button. Feel free to share with any family and friends, and subscribe and hit the bell icon for any new stories to be delivered to you. And check out my playlist whenever you have a chance. You can also find me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Well, that's my video for today. Remember, do something nice today. Help me change the world.
It's not their turn, it's my turn to shine. Like the rays of the sunlight reaching out my arms.
See you next Tuesday. If you can, take a moment to be a kind and generous person. We all share this earth, and there are so many small things that we can do that really don't cost much. Things like, number 1, smiling. Smiling not only makes you feel good, but makes others feel good too. Number 2, give someone who is stuck the right of way so they can merge with traffic safely. This will make traffic flow better. Number 3, ask someone who is struggling, "Can I help you?" This may be something very small to you, but very significant to them. For example, I'm tall, and lots of times I will offer to grab something off a top shelf for someone who cannot reach. Number 4, show appreciation to your significant other. My husband is an essential worker. This morning, I thanked him for everything he has done to keep our family going, and let him know how much I appreciate him. They need to hear these words. Number 5, have a positive attitude. During this pandemic, it's very easy to focus on what we don't have or can't do. There's so many of our very own family and friends that are in crisis right now due to illness, job loss, marriage breakup, mental issues, and so much more. So look for the positives in your life and give thanks for them. There are so many other things that we can do to become kind and generous people, and these are just a few examples. Hey, I'm positive you can come up with more. Have an excellent day and a tranquil night, and I will see you later!